Hey, can you find a water bottle for me?
Something so simple.
Hi, Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times on Thursday, December 21st. Well, you know that the wealthy people of America got a huge tax cut yesterday from the Congress. A little bit of that money may have been taken away. We learned today that this tax bill is going to have a big impact on big-time college athletics. For one thing, it's going to impose a 20% excise tax on salaries of $1 million or more. This means big football coaches, athletic directors, and the like. The universities are going to have to come up with that money. And that tax is also going to cover buyouts, multi-million-dollar buyouts, like the supposed $11 million buyout for the fired coach Brett Bielema at Arkansas. So that's an additional cost for athletic programs. And then there's this, and this affects the wallets of rich people. In the past, you could get a tax deduction for paying the extra money to get the fancy seats at football and basketball arenas. That deduction is going away, and that means the colleges likely, which have been selling that tax deductibility to get people to give money, perhaps are not going to have quite as much money to count on. So this is a problem for all the big-time athletic programs, Arkansas included. Arkansas has been polling its fans about whether they'll still continue to pay premium seat charges if they don't get the tax deduction. I think some of them won't. News today on the population front. The Census Bureau gave the latest population figures for 2017, and in those numbers, Arkansas topped 3 million people for the first time. The governor's spokesman said this is a sign of what a great governor we've got and how he's just growing jobs to beat the band. Well, lies, damn lies, and statistics. The nation's population rate grew at about 0.75%, and Arkansas grew by only about 0.5%. We're actually still falling behind, even if we are over 3 million, but we're doing okay. Not as good as Idaho. In Memphis last night at 9:01 p.m., same as their area code, they took down the statues of Jefferson Davis and Nathan Bedford Forrest from two city parks. They worked this out by selling the parks to a private entity. A nonprofit that's going to continue to operate them as parks. This was to get around a state law that prevented the removal of the Confederate statues. They've been hotly controversial. Confederate support groups are likely going to sue. This was done by the mayor because he wanted to get these statues gone, these symbols of racial division gone before an observance in April, the 50th anniversary of the assassination of Martin Luther King, the civil rights leader in Memphis. Little Rock police announced today that they'd arrested 4 people, 2 men and 2 women, in a string of 4 hotel robberies that occurred in West and Southwest Little Rock in the last week or so. They spotted a car that matched one seen on a surveillance camera. Planned Parenthood, which operates in Arkansas, is going to go to the U.S. Supreme Court and ask it to overturn an 8th Circuit Court of Appeals ruling that lifted an injunction against a state law intended to shut down abortion clinics in Arkansas. They're particularly aiming at a restriction that requires these clinics to have hospital admitting privileges, doctors on the premises, something that they don't require for any number of other medical facilities. Similar laws have been struck down in other states. The state can be expected to continue to fight to preserve this law, which is aimed at ending the availability of abortion in Arkansas. Some articles in the news you might want to take a look at. New York Times today has a 3-page feature on Charlotte Jones Anderson, the daughter of Jerry Jones, the Dallas Cowboys owner. She's a top executive in an organization said to be one of the most powerful women in professional sports. Very stylish layout on the Little Rock native and the Central High graduate. And also take a look at the Arkansas blog if you've got a chance to read an op-ed in the Washington Post by Dean Winslow. He was appointed to a Defense Department position to be in charge of health affairs. He's an Air Force surgeon, a marksman qualified on all manner of weapons, and he made the mistake of saying it was insanity to have AR-15s out in the civilian populace given their killing power. For that, he was deemed not suitable for a Trump administration job. We could use a few more like him. I mentioned yesterday citizen opposition to a poultry plant expansion in Benton County. The County Planning Board approved that last night unanimously, although there was a vigorous debate. The Arkansas House of Representatives tells me today that it will not release any more information about a sexual harassment complaint made against the legislator. They now say this would be an invasion of the privacy of the employee who made the complaint. They are making clear that this was, they're talking about protecting the personnel record of somebody who made a complaint about a legislator, not a personnel record of the legislator themselves. Until they talk about what this complaint was about and whether it was resolved in anybody's favor or not, we can't really believe their promises of transparency. A little bit of late news yesterday, also out of Arkansas County. The feds arrested a auxiliary deputy there for using confidential informants to his work on a drug task force to steal an ATV for him from a duck camp and also to obtain some stolen automatic rifles for him. He's now in custody and facing perhaps a long time on the other side of the jail bars. I'm Max Brantley. I'm still resisting, and by the way, happy birthday, sis. See you tomorrow.